Hello, I'm Peter Bergman. This is my official YouTube channel. I'll be updating you with the latest news, so please subscribe to my channel.
Welcome back to our channel, everyone. Today is an absolutely wild, unpredictable day in the soap universe, and we are beyond thrilled to dive into the latest jaw-dropping shockers with you. Grab your strongest cup of coffee, settle into your favorite chair, and let's get right into the heart of the drama. Okay, I literally cannot believe this. Can we please process this mess together? Might delete this later, but I seriously can't stay silent about this anymore. Please tell me I'm not the only one losing my mind over this. I am sitting here in the pitch black. The clock on my desk is screaming 3 a.m. and my brain is absolutely melting out of my ears. I just hit record because this grueling, decade-long journey of analyzing the absolute chaos of Genoa City has finally pushed me over the edge. I am ditching the script. I am breaking all the filters. You are getting the raw, unedited, sleep-deprived psychic damage of a legacy stan who just witnessed an absolute lore-shattering climax. There are legends carrying this entire journey on their shoulders while others are single-handedly testing my sanity, and I'm going to call them all out right now. Unbelievable, guys. What's going on here? We are talking about Kyle Abbott literally rolling up his designer sleeves, strapping a tourniquet to his arm, and giving a direct blood transfusion to save the life of his father, Jack Abbott. Yes, you heard me right. Kyle is saving Jack with his own blood. I am spiraling through a chaotic feedback loop of transcendent hype and absolute narrative betrayal right now, and I need the only circle that speaks this language to witness my existential collapse. Look, we have to break down the sheer, unadulterated psychological weight of this moment. Listen, Jack Abbott, the titan of Jabbit Cosmetics, the smirking, invincible patriarch who has survived countless corporate coups, heart attacks, and Victor Newman's endless, exhausting vendettas, is suddenly lying in a sterile hospital bed, fading fast. His life force is literally draining away into the abyss. And who is the one standing between him and the Grim Reaper? His prodigal, infinitely frustrating son. Basically, Kyle is stepping up in a way that completely redefines their entire dynamic. Suddenly, the monitors are flatlining, the doctors are panicking, and Kyle just steps into the frame like an absolute boss, demanding they take his blood. It is a total game changer. Honestly, I am just low-key dragging the vibe into the spotlight here because, wait, why are we like this? Why do we invest our entire souls into these characters only to have them rip our hearts out at 3 a.m? Kyle's decision to undergo this transfusion is a major flex. It is the ultimate power move wrapped in the guise of desperate filial piety. Basically, every single time they fight in the Jabbo boardroom, every single time Kyle feels unappreciated, overshadowed, or completely dismissed by Jack's massive, suffocating legacy, it all boils down to this singular, visceral connection. Blood, the Abbott blood. Let's do an immersive deep dive into the raw frames of this scene because the cinematography is packing a lethal crunch. Picture the stark, agonizingly bright fluorescent lights of Genoa City Memorial. Jack is pale, unconscious, teetering on the absolute brink of oblivion. The tension in the room is so thick, you could cut it with a Jabot-branded letter opener. You can practically hear the ghosts of the Abbott mansion holding their breath. John Abbott's spirit is definitely hovering in the corner of that ICU, weeping into his phantom martini. Kyle is sitting there, a clear plastic tube connecting his vein directly to Jack's. The literal life essence of the son is flowing backward into the father. I am screaming. This is cinema. This is absolute peak soap opera. Honestly, when you think about the sheer audacity of the writers to pull this trigger right now, wait, is this going to affect the stock prices at Jabot? Because if Victor Newman catches wind of Jack being this vulnerable while he is busy locking Matt in a room for some twisted psychological test, Victor will launch a hostile takeover before the IV drip even finishes. And what about Lily taking over Chancellor? Victor is out here handing over massive corporations to Lily while Jack is literally fighting for his last breath. Whoa, I've really gone off chasing butterflies into another dimension. Bringing the signal back, let's stick to the script. We are talking about the Abbotts. We are talking about Kyle and Jack. Look, Kyle has been a complete and utter mess lately. He has been single-handedly testing my sanity for years with his flip-flopping loyalties, his highly questionable romantic choices, and his relentless, exhausting need to prove he is the smartest guy in the room. But this act of pure sacrifice, this is a low-key obsession of mine now. The boy is literally bleeding for his father. Suddenly, all the past betrayals, all the times Kyle sided with Victor or plotted behind Jack's back to steal the CEO chair, they just evaporate into the sterile hospital air. Basically, you cannot question a man's loyalty when his literal DNA is currently rebooting his father's failing cardiovascular system. Actually, wait, let me contradict myself for a second. Is this really a completely selfless act? Honestly, knowing Kyle, there is a tiny, cynical, hyper-analytical part of my sleep-deprived brain wondering if he's sitting in that hospital chair thinking, well, if I save his life, he absolutely has to name me sole CEO of Jabot forever, right? I mean, that is the ultimate unbreakable leverage. Hey, Dad, remember that time you were literally dying and I gave you my blood? Yeah, I'm going to need that corner office, a 50% equity stake, and for you to never yell at me again. No, I shouldn't say that. Kyle loves his dad. He truly, deeply does. But wait, why are we like this? Why do I immediately assume the absolute worst? Because it's Genoa City, and nobody does anything without a hidden agenda. But honestly, looking at Kyle's tear-stained face as he watches the red fluid flow through the tubing, it feels incredibly genuine. It feels like a terrified little boy who is absolutely paralyzed by the thought of losing his hero. I am just times so overwhelmed, times by the sheer emotional gravity of this storyline. When Jack finally wakes up, and he better wake up, or I am literally rioting in the streets, the look on his face when he realizes Kyle is the one who saved him is going to break the internet. It is going to be an absolute sonic boom of emotion. I am completely ready for the all caps tears. Jack Abbott surviving because of his son's ultimate sacrifice is the exact kind of lore-shattering content we deserve after years of corporate squabbling. Listen, the sheer medical drama of a direct blood transfusion is a major flex for the medical team at Memorial, but let's focus on the emotional mechanics for a second. The red fluid moving through the clear plastic tubing is the most perfect visual metaphor for the legacy of the Abbott family. The blood that built Jabot Cosmetics from the ground up, the blood that fueled decades of bitter, scorched earth rivalry with the Newmans, the blood that has been spilled in countless metaphorical boardroom bloodbaths, is now being used for its truest, most primal purpose, sheer survival. Basically, Kyle is injecting his youth, his vitality, and his very future into the crumbling, exhausted foundation of his father's life. And we absolutely cannot ignore the Diane Jenkins of it all. Where is Diane while this is happening? Can you imagine her pacing the waiting room, her perfectly manicured nails digging so hard into her palms that they bleed? Her husband is dying, and her son is the only one who can save him. The sheer panic, the absolute terror of losing both of her anchors in one catastrophic medical emergency must be destroying her. Honestly, Diane is a legend, carrying this entire journey on her shoulders half the time, but right now she is reduced to a helpless, agonizing bystander. Kyle is the hero. Kyle is the absolute savior of the Abbott dynasty. Look, let's take a high-octane jump cut back to the past for some context. Remember when Kyle first came back to town, all corporate and ruthless, ready to take down absolutely anyone in his path? He and Jack have gone to war more times than I can even count. They have fired each other, sued each other, and screamed at each other across the Jabot desk until their voices completely gave out. Jack has always desperately wanted Kyle to be his perfect successor, but he also stubbornly refused to let go of the reins. Kyle has always wanted to be his own man, but he desperately, painfully craved his father's ultimate validation. This blood transfusion, it is the ultimate, undeniable resolution to their decade-long power struggle. Basically, Kyle is saying, I don't need to fight you for your legacy anymore, Dad. I am your legacy. My blood is your blood. It is pure poetry. It is absolute, unfiltered, devastating poetry, and I am crying real, actual tears at 3 a.m. over a daytime soap opera. I am dumping my unedited psychic damage onto the digital hive mind right now because I need you guys to validate this madness. You are the only ones who understand this hyper-casual, zero-filter obsession. This is not just a minor plot point to gloss over. It is a fundamental, seismic shift in the tectonic plates of the Y&R universe. Suddenly, when Jack opens his eyes, what is he going to feel? Will he feel weak? Will he feel permanently indebted? Jack Abbott is an incredibly proud man. He absolutely hates being vulnerable. He hates relying on anyone, even his own flesh and blood, to wake up and know that he only exists on this earth because Kyle literally drained his own veins to keep him alive. That is going to severely mess with Jack's head. It is a lethal crunch to his massive ego, but also a massive, overwhelming wave of paternal love that he won't be able to process. Honestly, I can already see the Emmy reels being submitted. I can see the slow motion, tearful embrace that is going to shatter our screens. Basically, I need to know your thoughts immediately. Are you guys as completely wrecked by this as I am? Is this the ultimate redemption arc Kyle desperately needed to finally mature, or is it just another incredibly complicated layer in the messy, beautiful, highly toxic Abbott family dynamic? Look, whatever happens next, nothing will ever be the same in that mansion. The Abbott bloodline has been severely tested, and it has proven thicker than water, thicker than corporate greed, and infinitely thicker than any petty rivalry. I am signing off before I completely lose my mind and start theorizing about John Abbott's ghost returning to take over the company. But honestly, this is exactly the kind of breathtaking storytelling that keeps me permanently anchored to this show. Total game changers. Major flexes. The absolute, undeniable peak of daytime drama.
Thank you for watching my video. I will be updating regularly with the latest news, so please remember to subscribe to my channel to support me.